how is population growth going to affect women around the world? Let's go to the Pakistani capital, Islamabad, and speak to Aisha Sarwar, the co-founder of the Women's Advancement Hub. Aisha, welcome to the program. First of all, a general question, if you don't mind, rather than being specific about women. How do you feel about 8 billion? What are the main thoughts in your mind? Challenges, or is it a joyous moment?
Who doesn't like babies, right? Let's start with that. But I think that this entire landmark or milestone that we're celebrating is essentially a failed science experiment. It's a mess, where I think we have to look at how disproportionate it is. The wealthy are consuming more, and the poor are having more babies. They have less resources, and climate change is making everything worse. So, it's the good and the catastrophic.
Yeah, Aisha, everybody loves babies. So the problem is babies grow into adults, and then it can be a problem, right? Okay. What does a growing population mean for women specifically in terms of women's responsibilities in the home and having to have a career as well? I mean, more people, as you say, already means fewer resources. But how does it impact women specifically?
Disproportionately, terribly. We are in a culture where, particularly, for example, in Pakistan, where women are looked at as having higher status if they birth more children, and particularly if those children are males. And that's why you see in Pakistan, particularly, there are more males than females. And obviously, it comes from an agrarian baseline, right? But what it is essentially doing is it's tiring women, it's breaking their backs, literally and otherwise. It is reducing the spaces that allows them recuperation after childbirth, which is essentially a violent act. It's a beautiful natural act, but it also comes with its depletions of calcium and other things. Nutrition is very important, and poorer countries do not provide mothers the safeguards and the environment to raise children in a healthy and enabling environment. These children are not growing up to be productive members of society. They're not contributing to education and health. They are contributing to the downward spiral that we see. But also, I do feel that rather than talk and preach to poorer countries, it is the wealthier nations, just like in climate change, that need to slow down. And I'd like to quote Rachel Carlson here, the mother of environmentalism, who basically said this is an ecosystem. You can't hurt the weak and let the weak hurt themselves and then not bear the consequences of it. So yes, it's disproportionately on women, on poorer women, and on poorer countries, but the onus of the pivot rests essentially on those who are the haves of the society.
Have a listen to this, because more than half of the increase that's going to happen between 2022 and 2050 will occur in 8 countries. Pakistan is one of them. You know what? I won't bother to mention the others, but if anybody cares to look for these facts, it's amazing. 8 countries are going to account for more than half of the increase in the global population between now and 2050. When it comes to Pakistan, what about family planning and education for families, and especially education of women about how they control the planning of their own families?
There is no control, and everybody knows that. And whoever says that there is control, that women have a voice, have a right to their reproductive processes, really is probably looking at the 1%, which doesn't count essentially. There's no agency when it comes to fertility because states like ours are very hell bent on controlling fertility because they do consider that that is a very important part of nation building and statehood, and the family dynamics is very important as well, which is why women really don't have a say. And like I said, their status is linked to the number of children they have, and their status is linked to the boys that they have. And that hasn't changed, although we've changed from an agrarian society, but the mindsets are pretty much in the 1800s.
Aisha, thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate it. Aisha Sarwar is the co-founder of the Women's Advancement Hub. Take care.